Hello everyone, good afternoon. Thanks for coming to Kendall College tonight. It's nice to see all of you. I'm going to introduce myself to most of you, but my name is Kristen Hodges. I'm the Director of Career Services and Continuing Education here at Kendall. I've been at Kendall for 5 years. Actually, my fifth anniversary is coming up December 1st. But I've been in higher ed and career services for over 14 years. And again, my main job is to make sure that students find jobs on campus, whether in school, internships, and help them find a full-time job once they graduate. So super excited to have all you guys here. Today we're going to cover a few things. We're going to go, this will work. Hold on. We're going to cover a few things and do a little networking. What is networking? How do you network? Why should you go to college? What's that going to bring to your career? If you see a piece of paper in front of you, we're going to do a little assessment about your skill set and how that can match to certain positions or companies. How do you actually go about finding a job? A little bit more about career services and what we do here. And then we're going to have an alumni panel. Alumni panel coming in at the end so they can talk a little bit about their experience here, but you guys can also ask them questions about what they've done at Kendall once they graduated. Sound good? Woohoo! All right. Okay, so networking. What do you guys think when you hear the word network? What comes to mind? What do you think about? Anyone? Anyone? Viewer? No? Networking. So networking is kind of a combination of things. One, it's about building your network of people, whether that's your friends, your coworkers, your classmates, people that you've met from mutual friends or acquaintances. So it's building your network. So having a network of people that you can work with on helping find a job, talking about career opportunities, and how to help you forward in your career, right? But what are the benefits of networking? So why you're going to network is because you're going to be more effective in your job search. If you actually have a network of people and you're interested in a certain company, you're interested in a certain position, maybe they work there, maybe they have a friend that works there, a sister, whatever, you can actually contact them and say, I would love an introduction because I'm interested in working in your company. So you're more effective in your job search. It also strengthens and builds your connections, right? So the art of networking is you're meeting new people. So today, none of you guys know each other except for the guests that you brought, right? But by the end of this lovely session, hopefully you guys have a new network of people and eventually can see who you become connected, right? You want to build that network. It also creates future opportunities. So if you have a good classmate or a professor or someone that you work with and you see on a consistent basis, what if 5 years down the line, you're like, oh, I'm hiring for a cook position or a chef position at a certain restaurant. You want to be that person that they think of. You want to be that person like, oh, they were so engaged in class, they were motivated, they were driven, they were awesome. I'm going to contact Susie Q and see if they're interested in working at my restaurant, right? So tips for networking. Has anyone ever heard of the term 30-second elevator pitch speech? Anyone? No? Never heard of it before? Okay, so the big thing about the elevator speech is when you're in an elevator, how much time do you have, right? Well, sometimes it takes longer than you want, but generally you're pretty quick. You're going one floor, another floor. If you have a casual conversation with somebody, you have about 30 seconds to say something. So what are you going to say? Your name, maybe your name, what you're doing in the building, what program you're interested in, whatever you're going to be talking about, it's going to be pretty quick, and you want to make an impression on that person quickly, right? And you don't want to take 10 minutes or 5 minutes introducing yourself. You want to do it in 30 seconds or less. You want to make sure you introduce yourself, right? But also you ask questions. Who's been in a conversation with someone before where you felt like they were just talking at you? Anyone? Yes? Yeah. And then you don't know how to get out of there. They're just talking and talking long-winded. You're like, oh God, how do I escape out of here? But that's the thing about networking. It's the back and forth. It's about having that back and forth conversation. So you want to listen and respond, and you also want to know how to close out, how to walk away in an effective way. So I think about a couple things. One, we bring a bunch of employers here on campus so students can actually talk and engage and network with employers. We not only do spotlight employers, but we also do classroom visits, and then we have 2 big career fairs a year. So the big thing when I talk to students, I say, you need to go up, introduce yourself, talk to this employer, say hello, whether you get their business card or whatever, go up and network and engage with them. And they're like, well, I'm not looking for a job right now. But it's not always about looking for a job right now. What's going to happen in 2 years, 5 years, 10 years? The more you build your network, the more people you know and you're connected with, that you can actually follow up and engage with them, right? that they think of you and you send them a note. It was great meeting you on Tuesday at Kendall College. I mean, that's a lot more effort than a lot of people put in, right? So it's about building and expanding your network. So another big piece is, back to the closing it out, I remember I was at a networking event about a year or so ago, and this lovely student from another school came up to me, and he was doing his elevator speech and was ready to rock, and he was very practiced and well thought out. But then he kept talking and talking and talking, and he didn't know how to exit out of there. So because of what I do, I kind of helped finish the conversation. So generally, if you're talking to somebody and you feel like you're telling them never ending story, right, or vice versa, it's okay to be honest, saying, it's great meeting you, thank you for your business card, can I have a business card, and then I'm going to follow up with you. So it's okay to say you're going to excuse yourself. Sometimes people get a little bit nervous or worried, so they just keep talking, right? Have any of you guys been to networking events before? Activities? No? Okay. So the big thing about networking, just like I walked up to all of you when you walked in, said hello, introduced myself. When you think about you go to most networking events, you're nervous, right? Because you're like, oh God, I have to introduce myself to someone that I don't know and they don't know me, and it's scary and it's nerve-wracking. But the reality is, if you go to networking events or any kind of a classroom or session, everyone's there for the same reason. Everyone's trying to gain new connections, meet new people, look for a new job. So it's about having that confidence and that excitement when you walk in there and don't feel nervous. So to kind of get you guys pumped up and ready to go, I'm going to have you guys stand up. Stand up, please. Yeah, guys too, please. You guys are going to talk to some people too. So I want you to go around and meet 2 new people that you're not someone that you came with. It could be a staff member from Kendall, it could be another person here for the session, and go up and introduce and talk to them. Ask them questions. Why are you here? Where are you from? What program are you interested in? Are you a Cubs fan? Please. So go around and ask some of those questions, and I want you to come back after about 5 minutes and have them learn 2 things about those people that you met in this networking session. Sound good? Make sense? Ready, go! Yeah. I wonder what remote control is. Yes, we're running out of time. Hey, Maddie. Maddie. All right, about another minute or so, guys, and then we'll get back to Do you guys want to start closing out your networking conversation? That would be great. Wrap up in a nice way. Are you good? Ever met two people? Yes? All right, so how'd it go? Was it scary? Was it terrible? Yes, no, what? Good? Yeah, it was good. Was it hard to go out and talk to somebody? No? No, pretty easy? Yeah. Right. So I mean the whole point of it, everyone knew what you guys were supposed to do, right? The whole goal was you guys the whole point of trying to talk and network with people. You already have the assignment, you have the goal. You're gonna go meet two people and find out two new things about that person. So that's what you want to think about when you are networking. You're in a classroom, you're in an event, an activity, whatever it may be. That's the kind of thing that you want to think about, going in there with that confidence and thinking that they want the same thing back before. Did anyone learn anything cool about somebody? Tonight. Well, hopefully you guys learned some cool things about each other. Show of hands, how many of you are interested in culinary or baking and pastry? Okay, how about business? Business, right? Okay. How about hospitality? Hospitality. Anyone for early childhood education? All right, so again, the networking piece is to kind of get you comfortable, get you moving, make new friends, meet new people, expand your network. So going to college, obviously going to college is a big decision, right? It's a big investment. It takes time, money, energy, effort, support from your family, your friends, all those things. But the reason why you do it is because you get a degree and no one can ever take that away from you, right? It's an investment in your future, your career growth, all those good things. So just some fun facts. On average, if you go and get your associate degree versus associate degree, you generally make it annually $12,000 more than from a high school diploma, and your bachelor degree generally is about $30,000 more versus a high school diploma. And again, this is going to be immediate, right? When you walk out and get your bachelor degree or associate degree, no, but it's over the time, the growth, opportunities. So you go in a lot of times, you have a BA degree or you have an associate degree. It's almost like a checkpoint when you're applying for certain jobs. Right? They want to invest in you. They want to see that you have a higher education degree. And so it's a good commitment and investment in your future. There's also more job options, right? So you might start out in a certain job and do something consistently for a certain amount of time, but are you going to be considered for that promotion? Are you going to be considered for that next job? And you don't want to not get a job opportunity or promotion because you don't have a degree, right? That's what people go to college and get their education. And then more freedom. So you have more freedom and choices in your career, whatever you want to do. Obviously, coming to Kendall for a certain program, it's pretty specific, but it's also very broad. Culinary may start out and be cooking in a kitchen or a hotel, but then you could work in a different food service company. You could work for like Vienna Beef or Kraft or something at the corporate office long term because you have that expertise and knowledge in culinary. Same thing with hospitality. Hospitality is massive, right? Generally, you might think about hospitality, restaurants, hotels, tourism, but it's also sales, marketing, events, conferences, meetings, finance, design, technology, right? So there's lots of opportunities. And of course, business is super broad. You do lots of different things in business. Okay? Any questions so far? No? I quiet group. All right, so now we're going to do another activity. If you guys find a piece of paper that's in front of you, looks like this, and you all have a pen. So it's quick style work assessment. Does everyone see that? Here. You want to go through and you look, there's questions 1 through 24. And in each question, there's 2 options. So you have to choose one of those 2 options. So like number 1 says, take action or coordinate activities. So you're going to select which one you think is more like you. What are you most connected to, right? So whatever that is, are you more likely to take action or are you more likely to coordinate activities? So you want to do the same thing throughout the 24 questions, okay? So go through, make sure you answer for every one of those questions. The first time I did it, I think I skipped a couple. And then at the bottom, you're going to actually total it up, how many you have in each category. Does that make sense? Yes? Okay. Everyone got any questions? So remember, when you're done answering all 24 questions, you can add up the number that you got in each group. So how many you have in group A, B, C, and D. You flip over, you can fill them in the boxes. And don't be alarmed or freaked out if you have similar numbers and in same category. It's okay. You're blending yourself. And we do these assessments in our classes that we teach because we really want to make sure that students are aware of their skill set and what they like to do and what they want to be connected to when they're looking for a job or an internship. Manny, did you take it? Did you take it? This sounds like a couple more minutes and then we'll get started. We'll wait another minute and then we're going to get going. You don't want to refill the drinks or food a little bit. So that's it. All right, guys, you ready? All right, guys, I'm going to get started. Everyone done with their assessments? Yeah? Raise your hands. Okay. All right, show of hands. Who had the most in category A? Anyone? A? Got one A? Two? How about B? Raise them high. Couple B's. Letter C. Group C. Okay, C. How about D? Anyone? No? Oh, you got a nice blend too. So how many of you guys had kind of the same numbers in multiple categories? Show of hands, raise high. Okay. That's okay. That's a nice thing. A lot of times it's about work assessment, so it's about flexing the different skills that you have depending on what you're doing and who you're doing it with. All right. So going through A, B, and C, and D, they call group A the focuser, right? The self-starter. So you look at an A and you think about it, you want to focus on what? And again, it's about things that you're trying to accomplish and what you're doing at work. Tasks, skills, job titles, about what you're trying to accomplish at work. So you focus on what you want to focus the task at hand. What do I have to do? How do I get it done? I want to get it done fast and I want to move forward. You want to take charge to work independently. You know what you may have to do or what you're supposed to be doing, and you want to do it independently. You don't want necessarily a whole team or group telling you what you're supposed to be doing, right? You manage by directing. You managing style is authoritative. You're going to tell people what to do and how to do it. That sound right for you A's a little bit? Kind of. You follow a strong leader. You value experience. So what does that mean? You value someone that has that experience, right? You want to look up to somebody that is actually has years of experience, knows the industry, is familiar with the industry. You work well with clear goals. You want to know exactly what you're supposed to be doing. You don't want someone to tell you that, you don't want to tell someone that, like, oh, well, you can do this, that, and the other. You want to know exactly what you're supposed to accomplish. You want to have authority, and you learn best by doing. Actually rolling up your sleeves and doing the work. All right. B, relator, enthusiastic. Again, show of hands for B's. B's. Okay. So you write to whom? It's more about the person you're connecting with, somebody that you want to connect with, a client, a customer, whoever you're working with, a team. You focus on the big picture, right? And you manage by organizing. You want to do teamwork. You don't want to do things independently. You want to necessarily work in a group to get things done. You want broad goals. You value participation. So at work, you want people to offer their input and they want to have their opinion. You don't want to be the one necessarily making up all the rules and making up the decisions. You want the whole group to kind of help make up that decision. You want to have influence, and you learn best by observing and participating, right? So you want to observe what's going on, and then how do you participate and get involved. Next is C is integrator or finisher. So you want to understand why. You want to understand why you're doing something. You don't want someone to say, you need to go do this. You want to ask some questions. Well, why am I doing it? What's the point of it? How many times have you done things where you have no idea why you're doing it? You just do it because you're told to. Anyone? Anyone? Me all the time, yeah. Just going to do it. So this is more, this person C is going to say, well, why? What's the reasoning? What's the point of it? You can serve with innovation. You manage by planning. So it could be good long term. How do I plan something, right? This project or goal is supposed to be finished in the next 2 months. What do I have to do to get to that goal and finish? You value questioning. So you might ask lots of questions like, what's going on? How many people are going to be involved? What does this do? You're going to ask those questions to get a better idea of what the overall goal is. You work both ideas and input. You want people to, again, offer their input and have ideas. Again, not the same thing as the B or the enthusiastic person. It's a little bit more about actually giving an idea and input, a point. You have time to assess, and you learn best by listening. So you're going to listen to people when they're actually giving their opinion. And you want time to assess. You don't want to be rushed into a decision. Right? And then lastly is operator or detailer, and that's really about you want to understand how. Again, which is different than the why. You're concerned with documentation. You want documentation. You want facts. You want data. You want input. You want to make sure that you're making a thoughtful and educated decision before you rush into something or you work on a project. You value compliance. You want people to be accountable, consistently follow through and do what they're supposed to. You focus on procedures and systems and policies. So you want to know what the policy is and what are those procedures I have to do to get something done. Okay? And then lastly, you learn best by repetition. You do the same thing consistently, day in, day out. You know what's expected of you, you go into your job and you do it consistently and you do it well. Did that sound like you guys, the ones that were in each category? Are you connected to those groups? Did it sound right? Kind of, yeah? Do you feel like you're kind of, again, a combination of multiple? Which is not a bad thing. It's a good thing because, again, every job that you're at, every position that you're doing, they may require a different level of skills. They may require you to jump in and take the lead certain times or make sure you're following policy. The point of doing this is what are you most connected to? Because time and time I'll talk to students, alumni, whoever, and they'll think that they come in to school or Kendall and say, I know I want to do finance or accounting. And they realize they go through finance or accounting classes and they're not very analytical. They don't love numbers. They want to be more creative on the creative side. So it's important for you guys as you're coming in, you want to come to school, the program that you're going into, but also understand what your skill set is and what you want to do. Because every job that you work in, you're going to hear from our alums in a little bit, you know, you may, again, you go into the job, but you're required to do something different every day, right? And you have to be prepared for it. You have to understand what you're actually going to do. Make sense? So some examples up here are the different categories, again, A, B, C, and D. So focuser, self-starter, you know, that could be a salesperson, right? You need to hit this target of sales this month. And they're independent. So they're going to come in, they're going to drive that activity, do whatever they need to get that sales goal. Line cook as well. You be a line cook if you know you're working a station, right? You're going to go in, know what you're going to accomplish, but you have to work managing a bunch of different craziness and things in the kitchen, right? An educator, a night auditor, again, you're kind of a manager on duty in a hotel or somewhere else, a night auditor, or a project leader, because again, you're managing that project, but you're also delegating with certain tasks. Related enthusiastic, a lot of times we'll see this, which is really a blend. We see this a lot in hospitality, where it could be a guest services agent, a talent development officer, so understanding what kind of talent your staff has and what they're looking for and how you can place them in a certain position. Another big thing is an account manager. Again, you're managing that relationship with clients or people. The big one, of course, is event coordinator. You're working with that client, understanding what they're looking for and how to make a successful event, right? Integrator finisher, a business developer, a marketing assistant, personal financial advisor, all good examples, again, because that's about the question is why, right? So marketing assistant, if you're helping support marketing for a certain product, you're going to ask a lot of those questions. They want to ask the question to make sure that they're marketing it in an appropriate way. And then operator detailer, again, data analyst, procurement and inventory. How do you save money? How do you manage that inventory? Is that a restaurant, a hotel, a store, whatever it may be? Be a pastry cook, again, detailed, right? Detailed, specific. You have to have very specific measurements when it comes to baking and pastry, because if you don't, it's not going to taste very good. And then operations manager. Are you making sure that everything's working effectively and appropriately in whatever business that you're in so you can do business well? Okay. Thoughts or questions on this? Does it seem connected to what you guys want to do? Yeah. Good. All right. So next we're going to move on to finding work in Chicago. Obviously, this doesn't have to be in Chicago. This can be anywhere in the country, right? So who here is working right now? Job, yes, okay. Who's looking for a job? All right. Nice. Here's some good points and tips about how do you find work in Chicago or anywhere else in the U.S. A lot of times I'm talking to the students or alums, again, they'll say, well, I want to work, I want a new job. But they can't even verbalize or come up with an actual job title or company or what they actually want to do. So the big thing is about defining your goal. Do you want to work in a kitchen and be a cook? Do you want to work and plan and execute events? Do you want to be a store manager, retail store manager? What are those things? Define that goal and what do you have to do to get there? So then next is the target list. I mean, again, I'll talk to students and say, I applied to 75 jobs in the past week, but they may not have any rhyme or reason what the job is. They just applied anything they found online, right? If you're going through those applications, you're looking at those applications, you're reviewing them, as the hiring manager or the HR person, you know exactly that that person is just going on Indeed or Craigslist or whatever, and just applying to anything they can find. So you want to make sure that your target, you have a target list. What are those companies? Are you drawn to companies or are you drawn to a position? And then here, who has LinkedIn? Is that LinkedIn account? Raise your hand. Okay, a few of you. So LinkedIn is a great way to, again, expand your network, through technology, not necessarily through verbal connections. That way you can connect with people. So you can go and find HR contacts, other people that work at different restaurants, hotels, companies, organizations, whatever, and then they're part of your network and you can connect with them directly if there is a job opening, if you're interested in that company. Then you want to learn, you want to research that company. I'll tell you, I have interviewed people here over and over again, and they think that I'm the director of HR, which is not true. Career services, similar but different. And also they think that we only have a culinary program, right? So what do you guys think that I think I'm interviewing this person when they know nothing about what I do or the school? Do I want to hire them? No, right? You want to make sure that you do that research, you're excited by what you're interviewing, and it's very obvious you can tell when you're interviewing someone if they're not interested. If they're not interested in the company that's interviewing they want to interview, you can tell. So you want to do that research. You want to make sure that you have an error-free resume. Please no spelling mistakes. Please no disconnected phone numbers. I mean, I've honestly gotten a resume with someone misspelling their first name, right? So where that was like, can't spell your first name, not great. I get it, you're typing fast, trying to send something out. You want to make sure that it's error-free. Spelling, punctuation, grammatical things, phone numbers, make sure that they're accurate. You want people to get a hold of you. If an HR person or employer calls your number once and it's disconnected or the wrong number, think they're going to call you back? No. They're going to move on, throw the resume out and move on to the next one. So you want to make sure your stuff is updated. And of course, have a professional voicemail and email. Again, I always use this as an example. I know they've heard it before. My favorite one that I've gotten for a student was buttcheek420@hotmail.com. I've also gotten babygirl69@gmail. You're kind of shooting yourself in the foot before you even get a call or an interview because you have this inappropriate, unprofessional email, right? Next, again, as I already said, keep it professional. You want to network, you want to engage, again, with people that you know, the companies that you are interested in or you applied to, talk to your network, let them know that you applied. Become a job search wizard, the biggest thing, if you have there's lots of very specific job search sites that you can actually connect to, and it'll send you daily or weekly updates of jobs. So if you have something you want to work as a line cook, I mean, you can put that on Culinary Agents or Calintro, and they'll send you stuff every couple days of new job openings in your area. And that's why you don't have to log in, just be sent. And then lastly, the interview. Make sure you're ready for the interview, all that research, know how to talk about yourself, know how to engage. Those are very important things because you want to interview and come up. I wish I could be everybody's hype girl and go into an interview with somebody and be like, Alicia's great, this is why, but I can't. You have to sell yourself. You have to be the one that knows why you're great, knows why you're applying for a job, and knows why you're successful in the job. So, and then of course the last level is success, right? Finding that job. So it is a process to find a job, but coming to school, obviously you're learning the industry-specific skills to be successful, and then we're going to help you on career services how to find that job at internship. Make sense? Awesome. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do, the last interactive activity, I promise, is called FABS. anyone ever heard of that before? Okay. So, facts, accomplishments, and benefits. What are those things? What are 3 facts about yourself? What are 3 things that you've accomplished? And then what are some benefits of hiring? So, a fact could be that you have a bachelor degree in hospitality, right? An accomplishment could be that you won, an award from work for great service. And then a benefit could be that you come in and that you have an experience, but you also know how to be highly organized. You can come in and you can help create a timeline and a project list and help us do that. Spend a couple minutes. I want you guys to come up with at least 1 fact, 1 accomplishment, and 1 benefit about yourself. So what we do in classes here, professional development, because we want people to understand what their facts about themselves are and accomplishments and benefits. So this is what's going to help you when you're interviewing a company and building a network. Does that make sense? Spend a minute or 2, jot down, come up with a fact, come up with an accomplishment, come up with a benefit. Sound good? I know some people get a little bit stuck on this, so I'm always happy to help kind of pull information out if you need anything. How's everyone doing on their facts, accomplishments, and benefits? Everyone stuck? No? Good. Who needs more time? Okay. You guys good? One more time? No? All right. Max accomplishments and benefits. Is it hard for you? Anyone? Yeah. Okay. Does anybody want to share a fact about themselves? Or anything on it? Fact? Come over this way. Who wants to share a fact? What do you? I know. You're at our website. Great. So, what is it? She said she's been in her current company for 12 years. So, what would that what would that say about someone looking for a job, or just in general about someone being at a company for 12 years? What do you guys think of? Loyalty, exactly, right? What else? Anything? Loyalty, she's there, she's committed, she's not a job hopper, right? She likes what she's doing, she's motivated to stay there. I mean, those are all good things as a fact right off the bat, because if she's committed, she's gonna get a job, she's gonna stay there and hopefully grow with the company or the organization, right? It's a great fact. Okay, accomplishment. Who wants to give an accomplishment? Accomplishments? So he graduated top 10% of his high school. Congratulations, that's awesome, that's a great accomplishment. And what does that say about nothing? What does it say? Intelligent, what else? Everything, okay? You're intelligent, you care about your grades, you're committed to what you were doing, you're a good student, and that again is a great accomplishment, right? And ideally, that would transfer when you came into a new job or a new place of work, right? And then benefit. Sometimes people find that this is the most challenging one, right? So I won't put anyone on the spot for this one. But a benefit, I mean, it's more about your skill set, what you can do for an organization, what you can do for a company, why they want to hire you. Like, it's kind of closing the loop. The last question an interview might ask you is, why should we hire you? This benefit piece would be a great thing to add in that question. And companies always ask that question, why should we hire you? Well, that's why. You have a benefit, you can sell yourself with that piece of information. Make sense? Awesome. Okay. So I talked a little bit about career services and what we do here and why I have a job and I have a great team that I work with. So our job is to help students find jobs. So it's me plus I have 5 career counselors that work on my team. So we teach professional development, and the big piece of professional development is to prepare you for your internship and your job search, right? So all programs have to take the professional development class that are on ground, and that's about resumes, cover letters, interviewing, networking, how you look for a job, how you follow up, all those things we teach so you're ready to go when you actually start your internship search. We do all internship, we manage all that for school credit, which is required in all the kind of ground programs. Our education program is a little bit different, but they do lots of different things with clinicals and all sorts of stuff, and Jessica will talk a little bit more about it. She's on a different panel. We also do post-graduation positions in field of study. So we're held accountable for everyone that walks out this door. We're held accountable to make sure that you are working in your field, and what can we do to help you find a job if you're looking for a job. Part-time jobs, so on campus or in the surrounding area. So a big thing, there's a lot of job opportunities here on campus. So we have like an events team. So lots of students actually work on campus while they're in school, which is great because it's flexible around their school schedule, right? But we have events from weddings to meetings to conferences and things like that. So it's a great part-time job. We also can help find a job off-site as well. And then we provide resources. So some of the things that are at the front table is about how to create a resume, how to cover letter, all those things you want to pick one up on your way out. Providing resources to help you prepare for your job search. And we have more than 100. So I mentioned something called a spotlight employer, and a spotlight employer, we generally have them every Tuesday through Thursday outside of our cafe, and it's companies coming to hire Kendall students. They're coming to market their organization, market their openings, and students can go up, introduce themselves, engage, talk to people directly. Again, that networking piece, get their business card, follow up. So we try to bring as many employers here on campus. We also do 2 big career fairs. The year we have one coming up on October 26th. Typically about 35 companies that come here on campus, again, to recruit Kendall students, right? So again, full-time, part-time, internships, seasonal jobs. We're bringing employers here on campus to talk to classes and everything else. So try to bring as many in as possible so you guys get exposed to those employers. We do industry field trips, so maybe we go and we tour a school, a company, a restaurant, an event space. We're trying to get out of the school too, so you guys can get really involved and see the industry and get out of the classroom to be exposed to firsthand. And then resume, cover letter, interview workshop. So how do we help you create an effective and good looking resume and cover letter? Questions on career services? Anything? Okay. Some of the things about companies that we work with that have hired our students that come on campus, they vary from business related things to Chicago Public Schools to Walt Disney World, lots of hotels and resorts, AT&T. So we work with a variety of different restaurant groups and hotels right here in Chicago, but also across the country and even internationally. Now we have a pretty big international population at Kendall, a majority in our hospitality program, but it's been very cool because we can have students that work with our other schools that go abroad. They may go to Italy, they might go to France. It's all about what you guys are looking for and how we can help you to get there, right? If you came into our office tomorrow and said, I want to go to France in a week, that would be possible. We know that you're looking for a job outside of Chicago or overseas. How can we help you get there and facilitate that relationship? And then I mentioned this, and you can't really see the bottom very well, but it does show that we're part of Laureate. So we have schools all over the globe that we work with, that we're in partnership with. So setting broad opportunities. Some students may come to Kendall and they want to, stay here for a year, but then they go overseas or they go somewhere else and study abroad for a year or 6 months because they want that exposure, that international experience. And then here's some quick quotes and things to highlight just some of our students in different programs. So these are some quotes. She just graduated. Actually, she was our graduation speaker at graduation this year. She moved to New York City and was there in the Master Pacific. And she's originally from Kazakhstan. We just finished things over there. So quick quote if you guys want to read it. But I love what she said. I really love this place. Everything that I wanted from a college is at Kendall College. Oh, so nice. And then Catherine, she was actually one of my first graduates when I started here at Kendall. And she's an event producer for Agency Day. So very kind of cool opportunity for her. And she's been working there since she graduated and has grown since she finished. And you see the words like real world experiences. Again, it's practical training and experience. So you're getting exposed to the industry and you're getting involved and integrated into the industry. So Steve, he's at Soho House. He was, again, the lead line cook. And Soho House actually opened, I want to say it was about 2 years ago. I was in New York and I went to LA, but they're expanding. They started off a month, so lots of cool opportunities, but it's right down the street at Randolph and Halstead. And then Deborah Johnson, she's our education graduate. And we just did she just won the award. We nominated her for the award, Here for Good. So all that she does in the community and for children was recognized and acknowledged, and really just a pretty special graduate. If you guys have a minute to read that. All right. Again, employers. So we bring employers in. They talk about why they want to hire our students. Here's some quotes again, and you'll see some consistency from these employers, right? You see professionalism a lot, professionalism, passion to serve, academic programs, good overall knowledge, work ethic. So all these things, again, that you want to have those skill set. You want to work with people like that, right? And you want people to say that about you, I hope. So it's nice that employers like this will say these things after they've met and engaged with our students or hired students for an internship or once they graduated. So we pride ourselves in really working with employers and having a good relationship so we can recommend and refer the right student to the right company or organization. And then this is a little video. I can get to it. Take a minute. I need some volume over here. Hey, Maggie. Pause. This is my problem. Help me. Okay. So video shoots about a year ago. We went around different companies and GMs and the presidents of companies, and they talk about why they hired Kendall. This is from Soho House.
And the title of Soho House, 2 words, Soho and House.
Hear that?
My name is Thomas Leonard. I'm the general manager of Soho House Chicago. In the title of Soho House, there's 2 words, Soho and house. I always think that we are a house. And when I think about house, I think about home, and I think about homes and families. And so when I'm employing people, I want people to be a part of that family. It just seems that the people that we see coming from Kendall, and when we've met larger groups of people from Kendall, it just feels that they are a natural fit. I think that what really sets them apart is, I think about the people we've employed already. They're professional. They've come in and they've kind of grasped it. They fit in really, really well. They have their own personal style. They're passionate. Those things sometimes take a long time to train into people, and they've come in and they've got it already. I guess it's that ethic of they're ready to work. They want to work, and they really want to sort of do well. I think the advice I give to students is to really be prepared to throw yourself in and learn and be well read about what's happening in the industry. Be passionate. Again, it's that word passionate. Really, if you're going to enter the food and drink business, be passionate about food and drink. When you're not working, find out what's happening locally, what's happening nationwide, what are the trends, what's going on, and visit the farmers market and kind of, little things like that really play a part in the day-to-day job. It's not just, I think, coming to work and doing the job. I think it's lots more than that. But the reason I recommend Kendall graduates to other employers, I'm not sure if I will recommend them because I want them all for me. But if I'm being fair and playing fair, of course I'm going to recommend them. And the reason I would recommend them is they're great. They come in, they get on with it. They know they've been well trained. They know what they're doing already, surprisingly sometimes. And it's like, this is easy, this is great, and we need more of them.
All right. Any questions before we move on to alumni panel? Well, thank you guys again for coming. I hope you guys learned some things about yourself, feel motivated about starting school, potentially about your future career. So now we're going to bring up a couple lovely ladies that are here to talk to you guys about their experience at Kendall. You guys want to come on up? We have 2 Jessicas and a Felicia. We have one from the business program, Jessica Dilling. That's from early childhood education, and then Felicia, who's a 2+2, which is baking and pastry and hospitality. Just wanted to see. I thought we could start where you guys can say, obviously, introduce yourself again. Introduce yourself. Talk about the programs that you studied, which I already know a little bit for you. If you're working, what you're doing now, and then your favorite thing about Kendall.
Okay. My name is Felicia Nader. I am a graduate of both the baking and pastry program as well as the hospitality management program. I am currently the pastry chef at Pimentos, which is just up the street on Randolph and Sangamon, so a block over from Soho House. And
Your favorite thing about
my favorite thing about Kendall, well, I actually have 2. I was heavily involved on campus while I was here, so career services was near and dear to my heart because they badgered me about everything, which was great. It was great. Don't get discouraged by that. And our second floor, which had all of our activities, and I was an RA, and I did pretty much every club, even if it was specific to something, I did it just because I wanted to. So that was my time at Kendall.
So I'm Jessica Dilling. I just graduated March and I walked in June. Yeah, huge accomplishment on my part. I have a degree in small business management. My plan was to come here to start my own business, which I actually kind of did while I was here. So I do 2 things. I work full-time in the day in the suburbs at a company that does wholesale stuff. So they basically import all these items and then sell out the catalog to people for them to sell to other people. So that requires me to talk to a lot of people in China, Thailand, Taiwan, Vietnam, Italy, to make sure everything gets into the system so then we can order stuff and then ship it out. So I'm basically in charge of all the samples and the catalog and whatever else they want to give me. And then I also own a business. I am legally registered with the state, so I do photography, my side thing. So I do that. It's kind of cool. And then my favorite thing about Kendall was the teachers and how everyone was willing to help you when we came here. So if you had a question, any teacher would take time out of their day and talk to you and help you. So that was cool.
My name is also Jessica, and I was in the education program. I graduated in the spring of 2014, and I currently work as a second grade teacher at Pritzker Elementary, which is a Chicago public school. My favorite thing about Kendall was similar to yours, is how supportive the staff and teachers were. As a strictly online student, I had tons of questions and endless emails to professors that they answered right away and were able to help me through anything I needed. So I always felt super supported my whole time at Kendall, which was what you really want in your school. You don't want to feel like you're left alone, and when you're at Kendall, you have a family that supports you.
All right, so questions, guys. I know you can find it all night. Questions for this fabulous group of ladies here to talk to you about anything, about your experience here, about recommendations in the industry, anything.
Did you know exactly what you wanted to do when I got here?
Yeah. So when I decided to actually come to culinary school, I got recommended by an advisor at my high school whose daughter went to school here. And I toured a bunch of different schools in the city. But when I came to Kendall, you know how you just walk into a place and you're like, wait, it feels right. And it's very rare that you actually get that feeling. Listen to it. If you already walked in the building, you're like, I can see myself here in about a year. Listen to it. I kid you not. I've done that with school. I've done that with every job that I've ever worked at. Listen to your intuition. Like, correct half the time. When you have that feeling. So I knew that I'm a picky eater, so pastry was my thing. And I was like, I don't want to touch anything else but pastry. So that was the deciding factor for me, was having an actual degree versus a certificate. So at the time, a lot of schools here, the three main schools here that offered any type of culinary only had baking and pastry certificate. Kendall had an actual degree. I wanted an actual degree. So that was another deciding factor for me. So I ran with it.
Other questions, guys?
What culinary clubs or organizations are there on campus?
It's on you.
On me?
We haven't talked about some of these in here.
Oh my God, I did everything. So I walked into student life. I tell people this story all the time. I walked into student life and I never walked out. I was here for about 3.5 years. And student life, I got into to be an RA. I got to be I eventually became president of the National Society of Minorities in Hospitality, which I don't know if it's on campus or not, but if it is, you should join for sure. And don't be discouraged if you're not in culinary. If you're in culinary and it's strictly hospitality, it's not. Trust me. I was the only baking and pastry person in this club, and we'll go to conferences with people from all over the United States, and would have on a chef coat, and everybody was so welcoming. So don't get discouraged if it's at hospitality. Don't think that you just have to be a hospitality student to join the club, because you don't. I was a part of Latinos Juntos. I'm not Latino. I don't care. I did it anyway. I made lots of friends just by joining every single club that I could. So don't think that just because it's one title that you have to be that title. You don't, because it's welcome to everyone. Trust me.
And what do you think about the culinary side of clubs? How is culinary involved in clubs or organizations or events that you take here on campus?
The nice part about our clubs here is we work with, we worked with the events department, which is all students that run everything. So you have culinary students, you have hospitality students, business students, and education students who all come together, and we bring all of our choice degrees together and pull them all together. So don't get discouraged by saying you're culinary or your hospitality or your, no, it's not about that. We're all here together, we all have the same thing, and that is hospitality. So sometimes it's harder to get culinary students to join clubs, but when they see one culinary student or they can interested, they're like, oh, okay, maybe I could do this. All right, cool, I'll join something. So don't get discouraged by that. You know, I know culinary is hard. It's very strenuous. Trust me, it's not an easy program. I cried every day for like the first 3 months of my program. So don't think it was happy to you. I appreciated it so much. So it is hard, but I encourage you to join a club, even if it's just one. I encourage you to do it because it looks good on your resume. It makes you look even more marketable to companies. It makes you more personable. Like you can sit and talk to people, it makes you more comfortable. And that's a lot of things I've noticed about culinary students. Like they just feel like, oh my God, I gotta speak to people. Like, it makes you look better when you can speak to people and you're comfortable with yourself and what you have to say. So join one club at least. In your whole career at Kendall or at whatever school you choose, join at least one. Just one. And you'll see when you're like, okay, maybe I join. Don't do too much. I did way too much. But just do at least one. You'll make tons of friends that way. Trust me. If that's how you're like, oh, I'm nervous. And I'm not going to meet anybody. I'm not going to have any friends. Join clubs. Trust me. You'll make tons of friends.
Other questions, guys? Anything? Yeah? Question?
What do you feel about it?
What do I do?
What do you do in the classroom?
My program is a little bit different than like actual culinary pastry design. So you have your general education classes and you have your core classes, just like in college. So normally you go to whatever core class based off their schedule. You're normally in the kitchen for about 8 hours, which you're like, whoa, that's a long time. You're gonna be in the kitchen for 8 hours anyway, probably 10, but it's a good base to start. So sitting in a classroom or in a kitchen, especially for your culinary classes, you can half lecture, half in the actual kitchen. So once you get close to graduation, you'll be all kitchen with minimum lecture, because you get those core lessons in the beginning of your program versus towards the end where it's all execution. So sometimes they're rough in the beginning because you get so much information, and trust me, your chef instructors are the smartest people you will ever work with. They bring their personal knowledge from the 20 some odd years that they've worked in restaurants or hotels or whatever the case may be. And they give you tips and tricks from the industry and they translate it over to your actual lesson. So it's a lot. Take notes. I'm gonna be honest with you, real world, like Kendall prepared me for the real world. A lot of students are scared and like, oh my God, I'm not ready for this. Trust me, when you get out there and you see other line cooks or even front of the house staff, you're like, you're way above what you think you are. So pay attention in class, talk to your chef, even if it's random questions you haven't even learned yet, ask them, trust me.
But I think that you mentioned about being 8 hours, in the kitchen, and that's the reason, so you are prepared. And she was go in and start working. All right, Maggie, you have another question?
How was each of your experience when finding internship or placement for school teaching? And if you had a negative or challenging part, how did you
You want me to take that? Yeah. So with the education program, there's classes on campus, and then there's also a online program, and I did strictly online. So it was kind of up to me and my professors to find placements that matched what I needed. And so I liked that I was able to go out and find schools near my house that I could make connections with, opposed to some schools just place you where they have connections with. And with Kendall, you're able to go, if you don't live in the city or you don't live near Kendall, you don't have to go to a school and do placement near Kendall. So I really liked that I was able to go out and make relationships with schools that were near my house that I was interested in working at, and build a relationship with them to where now I work at one of them. And so I had a great experience finding placements.
So I'm the special one when it came to job searching, as I'm sure you can vouch for this.
She is special.
So since I'm a small business degree student at a culinary school, it's a little difficult
It's a
trying.
all school.
Well, people know Kendall is culinary, so it's hard to be like, yeah, it's a business school that's only been around for 4 or 5 years by the time I was looking. So what I had to do was I had to go out and network with people, which I've learned a lot from networking. It's awesome. That's how I got an internship and how I've gotten weird opportunities to do photos for something. So basically you have to go out and network and make sure yourself build your confidence and look for something that you want to do. Because when I was looking for stuff, I didn't want to work in corporate. I didn't want to do large business or hotel. I wanted small business where I can learn as much as I could in that business. So I interned with a photographer, which taught me how he ran his business, but he turned it back on me and was like, hey, do all this research so we can help you get your business. So basically you have to go out and find opportunities, get yourself into it. If someone's like, hey, what do you do? Explain, and then be like, well, I really want to do this. And then you're like, this is really what I do. And then you get opportunities and go from there.
I agree with you, to piggyback on her. Networking is the best thing you can do while you're a student.
Mm-hmm.
By far. Like, you have to get over your inhibitions and walk up to someone and say, hello, my name is blah, 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 and pitch yourself right then and there and get used to it. You're not going to do that once you get out of school. I also did a bunch of stages. You can stage when you're pastry or savory or hospitality, even business. So take advantage of that. That's how I got my internships. I've done technically 3. So I did my pastry one, and I staged. It was great.
Do you guys want stages?
No.
Yeah. So staging is like a shadow shift. So 9 times out of 10, when you go and you're talking to someone, they say, well, come in for a stage. That means shadow shift. Trust me, half the schools in the city of Chicago have no idea what stage is. So it is an industry term. Learn it now if you're gonna actually pursue hospitality, because you will do it all the time. I actually just did a stage on Monday. So even if you're working stage, like just go and learn and see other ways to do other things. Like I said, it's not just for culinary. There's tons of people who work in the front of the house, both hotels or restaurants, that stage all the time. I know my boss that I worked for 3 years still stages to this day. She owns her own business. So she does it just to network and get out there and see what other people are doing, so she can maybe bring whatever she's learned or whatever she's learned with a twist to her own business. So it's something you're going to continue to do for a long time.
Other questions, guys? Okay. I want to ask a question about online. So for people that have done ground classes or on ground classes, what's the biggest difference about being online, and then why do you like it more or less than being on ground?
Yeah, I can lead that. So I did, I originally went to Western Illinois right out of high school, and I did on-campus classes, and I loved on-campus classes. You had classmates, you had your professors there to support you, but it just wasn't really what I was feeling for what I wanted in college. And so when I left and came to Kendall, I did strictly online because I was working full-time, and for my first 3 years of my program, I was able to continue working full-time until I went up to my student teaching year, which was my 4th year. And online, it's kind of isolated. You feel like you're alone. But in my classes, we had cohorts where you're talking with your classmates every day. You're working in group chats with them. You're Skyping with your professors. You're Skyping with your classmates. And you're not as isolated as it may feel. So you might think you're alone, but really your whole section, whatever class you're in, is working with you every day, although you feel like you're alone. You're really not.
How about the flexibility with online?
Yes,
classes?
so with online classes, I was able to, like I said, work full-time, do my classwork at night. I was able to, if I had a test, I could take it at 3 o'clock in the morning if I wanted. If I couldn't take it at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You had that flexibility to work on your own time as long as you met deadlines. So it really made me a self-starter and really independent person, because I had to set those deadlines for myself opposed to going to class and having it ready on the professor's deadlines. And I really liked it. Like I said, because I could continue to work and then eventually get my degree and continue working.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. So I started at a community college, and then I moved here and was here like 3 years, 2.5. I don't know. It was like 9 quarters. Anyway, so when I started, I was completely online, and then internship came. I was on ground, and then the internship came, and that quarter you have to be online completely because you're at your internship. So I did that, and I kind of liked that. I was online, and I really didn't have to come here because commuting here on train is a little difficult, but it was okay. So I decided to do a mix and do as many online classes as I could, and then I was on ground when I had to be for like capstone or some class that wasn't offered. So being on ground, professors, it's a little hard to track down some professors if you don't know their complete schedule, but they're usually around if you're like, hey, can you help me 10 minutes after class to understand this? Which is easier than trying to email them and waiting. And then when you're online, they're also available. So if you're like, hey, I don't understand this, can you call me? Or can we set up a call or whatever? So they're there for you no matter where you are. So I liked the online as well because I was doing internships towards the end of my time here. So it was internship, I was running to work, I was all over the place. Online helps you if you want to work because as students, you can't always afford to go to school and not work. So it's helpful.
Yeah, so when you're doing culinary baking and pastry, obviously you're going to be kitchen that we already talked about. But then it's nice that there are classes in hospitality and education business, so you have flexibility. So some people love online classes. I think it's the best thing is they can do it at work, they can run around, and they can do it at their own time. Other people, students, they want to be on ground because they want to be in class. They want to have direct access to the professor. So it's also about what works best for you, what's going to make the most sense for you, and what people they want. Something to consider. Any other thoughts or questions, guys? You guys get excited about it? Okay, so last thing. Piece of advice or something that you'd recommend for students potentially starting here at Kendall?
I can start. I would say, like a lot of us have been saying, is network. Make sure that you are making connections with anyone you meet. Your professors, your career counselors. If you're in, I can't speak for culinary, but I can. If you go and do what did you say? Stash. Make sure you're networking with those people, getting their contacts. If you are in education and you go, I had to go to daycares, schools, elementary schools, middle schools. Make sure you're getting contacts and keeping in touch with those people so that when you do need to go to your internships, you reach out to places that you're comfortable with and that are places that you see yourself working at in your future.
Put yourself out there. If a teacher tells you to write a business plan, go 10 steps ahead of them and go out and use your business plan and try to get funding or do more than you need to do. Because I did that when I did my business plan. I wrote it 8 times, reread it billions of times. I went to my family. I got some funding. I also went to the SBA and got help from a mentor. I went all out to get as much experience as I could because it looks good on your resume. If you're like, oh, I know how to write a business plan. What do you do? And I'm like, So put yourself out there and go above and beyond. Impress your teachers.
I'll piggyback off of both of what you all said. Networking is important. Staging is important. Also, another thing that's important, don't act like you are already prepared. Like, don't go into an interview or into a job saying, I already know that, because you don't. 9 times out of 10, you don't. You haven't worked in the industry unless you are currently working in the industry. But even still, you're still gonna learn something every day. I'm still learning every day, and I've been graduated for 4 or 5 years now. So just be humble and know that they're here. They are there to help you. They're there to help you learn and get better in your career and advance in your career. Just be mindful of that and know that you don't know everything, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. And those of you who are interested in culinary, you're not going to be a chef tomorrow. Know that you're not going to be a chef tomorrow. It's not going to happen unless you just know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. You're not going to be a chef tomorrow. Or hospitality. You're not going to be a procurement manager. You're not going to be a hotelier yet. You're not going to be. It's not going to happen that fast. Take your time. Learn as much as you can. Trust me. I work in retail. I worked in a hotel. I worked in a private club. I worked in a bakery. I worked at a restaurant. Trust me. Do as much as you can. You'll be well-rounded.
Anything else? Ladies, thank you so much for taking your time, coming out and sharing your experience. Appreciate it. Congrats on all your success. Guys, thanks again for coming, taking the time to come to Kendall. If you have other questions you want to ask me privately, you can. Or you want to ask ladies questions too, feel free to come up and